Yo, what's up, guys? Today I'm going to be doing a full card recap of UFC 323. And this was honestly one of the greatest cards. There's a ton of good fights. There's a few unfortunate stuff that happened in the fights, but other than that, most of them were very entertaining, some great finishes. And this was just a really good card from start to finish. So let's get into it. And the first fight of the night was Muhammad Naimov versus Myron Santos. And this fight played out how I thought it was going to go. Myron was clearly better on the feet, landing more strikes. And then Muhammad Naimov tried to resort to the grappling. He held along the fence a little bit, but not much other than that. He went 0 for 5 on takedowns. Santos was just able to defend them all and keep the fight standing. And he was just piecing him up on the feet, landing the better shots. He was the first to punch. He was quicker than Naimov. And in the third round, like 20 seconds in or something, he landed, I think it was like a big right hand that dropped Naimov. And the ref had to stop the fight. Naimov was not defending himself at all. He was just curled up. So this was a good win for Myron Santos, other than the fact that he missed weight. So I wonder how much that played into this fight. But other than that, it was a good fight for Santos and a good win. And we'll see what his next fight is like if he can make the weight. But other than that, that was a good win for Myron Santos. And the next fight was Mansour Abdul Malik versus Antonio Trocoli. And Abdul Malik just ran through Trocoli. Trocoli is not UFC level at all. Not much really happened in this fight. Standing, not much strikes were landed. Abdul Malik went for a takedown, got the takedown. Big surprise, not really, but and then Trocoli just gave up his neck, and Abdul Malik got another standing guillotine. That's like, I think that's back-to-back losses for Trocoli by standing guillotine. This guy is not UFC level, Trocoli. Not sure how much longer he's gonna be in the UFC, but Abdul Malik looked good in there. He looked explosive, fast. He he has a great build for this weight class, and he's heavy-handed. So I think he's gonna make waves in this division, and that's a good win. That's how I expected to go. That's how it should have went. So this is a good win for Mansour Abdul Malik. It's just another name on his resume, building the experience. But we'll see who's next for him. But that's a great win for Mansour Abdul Malik. He looked good. So let's move on to the next fight. And the next fight was between Ivo Baranowski and Ivo Aslan. And this was one of the most entertaining fights on this card. It was only a minute and a half, but it was pure chaos. So Ivo went for a takedown. Ivo stuffed it, and they were clinched, and they just started throwing strikes. And then all of a sudden, Ivo gets dropped. Then Ivo tries to go finish him. He gets dropped himself. He somehow survives. I'm not sure how. And then they broke up a little bit, and they just went straight back at it. Ivo was hurting Ivo against the fence, like just throwing haymakers. And then Ivo just had a counter right hand, just dropped Ivo, and landed like 2 shots ground and pound, and it was over. Like this, if you have not seen this fight, you have to go look at it. It was one of the craziest sequences I've seen. It was just so entertaining live. This was Evo has a chin on him. I don't know how. So does Evo, and they have such similar names. It's kind of weird, but this was a great fight. If you have not seen it, you have to go watch it. It was insane. But this is a great win for Evo. Like that's a hard test to get past Evo in a war like that, where Evo thrives. But this was a great win for Evo Baranowski, and this guy, I'm excited to see how this guy moves in the light heavyweight division. So we'll see who he gets matched up against, and we'll see how far he can make it in the UFC. But so far, I like him so far. He's entertaining. He has skills, and yeah, this was a great win for Ivo Baranowski. And next up, we had the unretired Jalen Turner versus old man Edson Barboza. And at the start, Edson was landing a few clean shots on Jalen Turner. I'm not gonna lie. But Jalen Turner landed a nasty counter elbow, which cut like the top of the forehead or maybe on the top of his head, which really hurt Barboza bad. He never really fully recovered. He was able to survive for like maybe I think it was like a minute and a half. But he was just surviving. He had no threat to Jalen Turner. Jalen Turner was just landing huge shots. Barboza's face was just a mess. It was just blood all over, and Jalen Turner looked really sharp in his comeback fight, which I'm glad to see because he should not have retired after his last loss. But it's glad to see that he came back strong and put away an amazing veteran striker like Barboza. So we'll see how Jalen Turner can like flip the script on his career. See if he can get a couple of wins together, but we'll see. And I'm not sure what's next for Barboza. He took a ton of damage in that fight. I'm guessing retirement is on its way soon, but who knows? But other than that, great win for Jalen Turner, and we'll see how his career pans out in the next couple months to a year or a couple years. We'll see, but that was a great comeback win. And the next fight was between Marvin Vettori and Bruno Ferreira, and this was one of the slower paced fights. Bruno got a decision win over Vettori because Vettori has a head made of concrete. He won the first 2 rounds, Bruno, landing some strikes. And just Vettori was just not throwing anything at him, really. And it was just Bruno throwing at him and landing just the cleanest shots. But Vettori has like no sense of urgency, like ever, I feel like. And he just loses decisions all the time. This was not one of the best fight. Bruno's gas tank seemed to improve, but he didn't cut the last 3 pounds. He was 3 pounds overweight, so that could have played out differently. But he kept his composure. He didn't unload right away in the first round. He kept his energy and was kind of fighting conservative. And I mean, he got him the win, so it worked. But Vettori is just this guy has no sense of urgency, like ever. Like, but yeah, Vettori did not look good. This is a pretty good one for Ferreira. His first decision win, going 3 rounds. Did weigh 3 pounds overweight, but we'll see what's next for him. Maybe someone in the top 15, or I don't know if he's ranked. I don't think so. I think Vettori was, so Bruno should be ranked. But I don't know what's next for Vettori. We'll see. But yeah, this was one of the lower pace fights, but it's still pretty good to watch. So yeah, that was a good one for Bruno. And this fight I was excited for. It was Nazim Sadikov and Fares Yam. I really thought Sadikov was gonna fight a lot better than he did. Like Fares Yam landed like 69 more total strikes in him than Sadikov. And Fares Yam, the first round, not much really happened. It was mostly held against the fence, and I think he got a takedown near the end. But most of there's like not much action. And then the second round was kind of the same thing. I think Fares Yam was going for a couple submission attempts, though. I think he had 2, but he just had like 6 minutes of control time. And then in like the last 10 seconds of that round, Xiao threw like a nasty elbow straight to the side of Sadikov's head that like dropped him, and he landed another one. And Sadikov kind of like curled up, but he was surviving. There's like 5 seconds left, and Xiao was just throwing ground and pound. And I feel like the refs should have stopped it, but the ref waited for the bell, so he made it to the second at the end of the second round, and then after the bell, then Sadikov was really wobbled, and then the ref just stopped it there. So I think the ref should have probably stopped it earlier. Sadikov did take a little bit of damage. He waited for the round to end and then just stopped it in between the round, which I thought was a little weird, but Sadikov was really wobbled. And I really thought Sadikov was going to put up a fight in this matchup. This was a great performance by Fares Yam. I did not expect from him, but he proved me wrong. So we'll see what's up next for him. I'm not sure who he could fight next, but I think he's definitely a top 15 fighter in the next year or so. So, and I think this was actually a good win against Sadikov. I do think Sadikov is a great fighter. So this was a good win for Fares Yam. And next up, we go to the only women's MMA fight on this card, Macy Barber versus Karine Silva. And in the first round, Karine Silva was able to get the takedown and get the body triangle on Macy Barber for a couple of minutes of control time, threatening the choke and face cranks. And she held that for a couple of minutes, and then I think maybe in like last 20 seconds, Macy was able to get out, and she landed heavy ground and pound. And then the next round, I think Macy Barber was controlling with the wrestling. Macy Barber's ground and pound is actually very good and heavy shots, heavy elbows. And Silva like landed like an illegal up kick, I think like 2 times. And it looked like it really wobbled Macy Barber, but no point taken or anything. And then right back from when they paused the time because of the illegal up kick, when they resumed, Macy Barber just went for the takedown right away, got it, got in a dominant position, and was just landing heavy elbows on Queenie Silva. And she just dominated the rest of the fight. Queenie Silva did look good early. She just faded as the fight went on, and Barber just started picking up the momentum. So this is a great win for Macy Barber, especially since her last fight she pulled out of. She's on a big win streak here. Let me see. She's on like a 7-fight win streak, so she is definitely going to be able to get a title shot soon. I'm not sure when, but I think she's definitely a future challenger contender. And 15-2, I think she is. She's definitely one of the best women's flyweight right now. So we'll see what happens in the future. But this was a great performance by Macy Barber after quite a long layoff too. And next up we have Terrence T-Rex McKinney versus Chris Duncan. And this is the most classic Terrence McKinney fight I've ever watched. Terrence McKinney at the start was beating Chris Duncan, landing like shot after shot after shot. Just heard it, like Chris Duncan was wobbled. Like Terrence McKinney should have finished this fight. He really should have. And then Chris Duncan, as he's like so wobbled, he somehow gets a takedown on McKinney. I don't know how McKinney didn't stop that takedown. And then he got the fight to the floor, and then he was hurting McKinney. And then I forget what happened, but he ended up hurting McKinney like a minute and a half in, and McKinney like was just gave up along the fence. Like he was down. Chris Duncan was landing shots. McKinney would stand up barely and then just fold back down to the ground. And then he gave up his neck to an anaconda choke. And Chris Duncan won by submission. Like, I don't know how Terrence McKinney did not finish Chris Duncan in that like first exchange. Like he was throwing like so much strikes just straight to Chris Duncan's head. Chris Duncan has a chin on him. He's more durable than I thought, but Chris Duncan won. He ended up dropping McKinney and then took him down and then just was beating on him and just got the submission. So this was a great win for Chris Duncan, I guess. It showed he's tough. Like a lot of other fighters would have quit against that, like what McKinney was throwing at him. But yeah, this was a good one for Duncan. We'll see what's next for him. I think Duncan's on a 4-fight win streak now. Yeah, 4-fight win streak with 3 of them being submissions, which is quite crazy. But yeah, this was entertaining to watch, of course, because it's a McKinney fight. They never disappoint. They never go to the distance ever. So yeah, good one for Chris Duncan, and we'll see what's next for him in the future too. And the fight before the main card was Grant Dawson versus Manuel Torres, and Grant Dawson just got knocked out again, just like the Bobby Green fight, except he survived a little bit longer. This time he survived 2.5 minutes. But Grant he was throwing these overhands from like so far out, and it was so clear that Manuel Torres was just gonna take a read on that and just knock him out. Like these were his striking was so bad this fight, Grant Dawson's, and Manuel Torres just landed. When Grant do that, he overextended, and Torres just punished him for it and just knocked him out and just started landing ground and pound. Grant just curled up into a ball and did nothing. This is not a good look for Grant Dawson at all. Like this guy does not take damage well at all. But this is Manuel Torres's first round knockout. Well, this guy has not left the first round in the UFC ever, which is quite crazy, honestly. He's on a roll, and this is a great win over Grant Dawson actually, and it's a pretty big underdog too. So this is not a good not a good loss for Grant Dawson at all. And this is a great one for Manuel Torres, actually. So we'll see. And I think he's in the top 15 now, I'm pretty sure, if he was not before. But this guy's going to be good in lightweight division. We'll see his next few fights. So, yeah, a great win for Torres and not the best luck for Grant Dawson. Okay, to kick off the main card, we have Blachowicz and Bogdan Guskov, and this one was weird. So the first round, Yan won. It was close, but I think I would give it to Yan. And then the second round, Bogdan hits Yan with the nasty right hand that drops him, and Bogdan could have finished the fight, but it's like he was scared to throw ground and pound. He was throwing a punch like every 5 seconds. He was landing very nice elbows, but he should have just started raining down shots. So then Yan survives somehow to to, to the third round, and Bogdan was winning the third round. He was landing his right hand all day. He was hurting Yan, honestly. Good jab, good right hand. And in the last 10 seconds, Bogdan gets knocked down. So then he loses that round too. And it ends in a draw because how dominant the second round was for Guskov. Bogdan, this guy should have won the fight. Third round, he had his hands down against the fence and just gets knocked down. Like this was Guskov should have won this fight, and this would have been a good win for Guskov too. But he would have broken into the top 5 with a win over Yan, but instead he throws the fight away in the last round. So I'm not sure what you do, honestly. And I think Yan has 2 draws in his last 5 fights. Yeah, he does. But I'm not sure what we do with Guskov now. He's gonna have to fight someone lower ranked, but he really should have won this fight. But his IQ just was not there for it. Kept his hands low in the third round against the fence, and Yan punished him for it. So this was good for Yan, I guess, to just not get another loss on the record. But Guskov really should have won this fight. I was disappointed in that, but it is what it is. So, yep, this fight ended in a draw. So, yeah. And the next fight was Peyton Talbot versus Henry Cejudo. And a lot of people online I was looking at really thought Cejudo had a chance, and I really did not. Like, this guy's 38. He's slowing down. His wrestling is not that good at this point in his career, and Talbot landed more takedowns in this fight than Cejudo did. Cejudo was 1 for 7 on takedowns, while Talbot was 3 for 5. And Talbot had more control time in this fight too. Talbot was piecing Cejudo up. Cejudo's face was destroyed after the last round. This was just a dominant decision win for Peyton Talbot. He looked great. His improvements and his grappling, his striking was sharp. He landed 134 significant strikes with a knockdown. And this was Henry Cejudo's retirement fight. Probably not the way he wanted to go out, but it is what it is. Yeah, he's retiring on a 4-fight losing streak. I think it is best for him to retire at this point in his career. And this is a great win for Talbot. Great bounce back. A lot of people, I think quite a bit of people were doubting him too, honestly. But he was putting the pressure on Cejudo. Cejudo's a chin. Like Talbot was showing heavy shots, heavy knees. But great unanimous decision for Payne Talbot. So he's gonna make waves in this bantamweight division that I'm excited to see. So this was a great win for Peyton Talbot. And then we go to Brandon Moreno versus Tetsuro Taira. And the first round was really weird. Taira went for a takedown, and Moreno like kind of reversed it and got like a inverted triangle where Moreno was on the bottom. Tetsuro Taira was like standing over him, but he had like an inverted. I know it's not even inverted. It was just like a really weird triangle that Moreno just held on to really for like 4 minutes. Literally nothing else happened in that round since once Moreno got that locked in. But Tetsuro survived, and then the second round starts. A little bit of striking, and then Taira got the takedown, and he was able to get, I think it was mount. I'm pretty sure it was, or yeah, it was mount. No, he had the body triangle, and then he like rolled over onto mount, and he just landed heavy ground and pound. A lot of people thought it was an early stoppage, but I mean, I thought it was gonna get finished either way. Like if the ref just waited like 10 more seconds, he would have had to stopped it again. So I think the stoppage was fine. I know some people online were complaining, but I think it was reasonable. And Tyra did look sharp in this fight. Honestly, this was a great win, and and I think he is next against Van, or maybe Manel Kopp if he wins next week. But we'll see. we'll see who Tyra fights next. He's definitely gonna get a title shot in the future for sure. This guy is good. His ground game is on the next level, and this is a great win over Brandon Moreno. So yeah, we'll see what happens. And I don't know what's next for Moreno. He's only 31 years old, 32, so he's still young. But I'm just not sure who he fights next. But I guess we'll have to see. So other than that, great win for Tyra. And we go to the co-main event. This was a first title fight between Pantoja and Van, and this one, it was really unfortunate what happened. Pantoja threw a head kick like 20 seconds into the fight, and Van caught it and kind of like threw him back. And Pantoja tried to like brace himself with his arm, and his arm like snapped the other way. It was hard to watch, and apparently his shoulder dislocated, but it really looked like his arm snapped. So this was really hard to watch, honestly, with how dominant Pantoja has been. And now he's gonna be out for like a year at least, I think, surgery, recovery. But this was honestly sad to see, and it was only like 20 seconds to the title fight, and well, and Van is the new champion of the world with 2 strikes thrown, and the fight being 26 seconds, which is insane. So I'm not sure what they do next. Dana said that it's not gonna be an immediate rematch just because how long Pantoja is gonna have to recover for. So someone's gonna have to fight Van. Van's gonna have to defend the title. So we'll see who that is. But this was really unfortunate to see. So we'll see what happens in the future. And next up, we had Murab versus Yan. And this, oh my gosh, I don't think anyone was expecting this outcome. Murab dominated. I mean, no, Murab did not dominate Peter Yan. Peter Yan dominated Murab, winning like 49-46, 48-47. And he was able to stuff like 27 takedowns out of 29. And Peter was 5 for 9 on his takedowns. He was the one landing the takedowns. He was piecing up Marab. He landed a body kick that sounded like a gunshot, and just it was this was Peter Yan. This is the best fight I think he's ever looked. His striking was clean. Takedown defense was on point. Kicks, everything. His own takedowns were working. He was able to get up quick. He was good at escaping Marab's submissions. Marab, I think, had 2 guillotines. Peter was out of them fine, and this Yan has looked incredible this fight. So I wonder if they're gonna set up the trilogy soon. I bet they are, but wow, did Peter Yan look good in this fight? I don't. This is Marab's 4th fight this year. Maybe the weight cut was getting to him, but Peter Yan did not slow down at all in this fight. This was insane to watch, honestly. I don't think like anyone expected this. He was especially after their first fight where Marab absolutely dominated. So we'll see what happens in the trilogy probably next year. But other than that, this is the best performance Peter Yan could have put against Marab in this fight. I don't think it could have gone better. So yeah, this was insane. And overall, this was an amazing card. Honestly, these fights were entertaining. They were exciting, some crazy outcomes, finishes, and it was great to see, honestly. So yeah, and this was a great main event to end it all. This was an exciting matchup from like the first minute to the last minute, honestly. So yeah,